Hello, everybody, from high in Vulture Valhalla. It's the Crow's Next. This is Scotty.
This is Steve.
Welcome. We want to talk to you about what we're going to do here. We're starting a little bit of a travel channel, maybe. At the moment, that feels ambitious, but we'll see how it goes.
This whole thing started with just watching YouTube cruise videos in advance of, I think it was our second or third cruise with Holland America for a specialty charter that we began taking called the Joko Cruise. And we'll get into what that is in a minute. So we're relatively new to cruising. We've got maybe 6 under our belt, 6 or 7. And we're so enamored of the cruise videos that we saw and all the various ways of doing it. We decided that maybe we could come up with some content that maybe you haven't seen before, and not just cruising, but maybe some other kinds of travel as well, although we are partial to cruising, it seems. The Joko Cruise is where it all started. The Joko Cruise, what is the Joko Cruise? Can you tell us?
The Joko Cruise is a little nerd cruise. Well, some people call it a Comic Con at sea, although I think there's also a Comic Con at sea now, so I guess we can't say that. We always call it the Nerd Cruise because that's the quickest description of what it is.
Yeah, and it's centered around, it's named for Jonathan Colton, who's a singer-songwriter, and he used to be a computer programmer guy, and he switched to being a professional musician, and he has a very large, deeply disturbed following that goes on this cruise every year, and we're some of those people now. We really enjoy it. And this cruise takes place on Holland America. The first year we went was in 2019 on the Oosterdam ship, part of the fleet of Holland America Line ships. And we were smitten from the start. We just loved the whole deal. The next year we boarded the
The New Amsterdam.
New Amsterdam, which is essentially the same size ship. And so this nerd cruise was fabulous, but we began to become seriously curious about other cruises. And so from there, we decided to try some other cruises. Kind of lost my place there a little bit. We should talk about...
Did we mention that we're new at this?
Yeah, we are new. We're new at this. But we're going to get better at it.
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Cruise by cruise. So let me just back up and say the first cruise I ever went on was in 2018 with Carnival.
You probably heard of them.
You probably heard of Carnival cruises. I went on the Carnival Pride with some girlfriends of mine, and I had never been on a cruise before, and it really was a revelation, and I knew that Steve would really enjoy cruising. I just knew being on the ocean, meeting all these new people, it's just a completely different way to travel, and of course, I fell in love with the Caribbean. And and we had a balcony room on the Carnival cruise I went on. It was quite lovely and serviceable and perfectly comfortable for us. And so when Steve and I stepped aboard the Oosterdam in 2019, and he had signed us up for what they call a signature suite, I was completely bowled over. Yay, Steve. It was an amazing, beautiful, beautiful room. Do you want to say more about the rooms in
Well,
general?
it's suite. Suite means a slightly bigger room. Suite doesn't mean there's more than one room. Not in this case, anyway.
No, not in the case.
It's just a little. It's not as tiny as the tiniest one, and not as big as the multiple room ones. Suite is a little bit bigger room.
So, the other great thing about cruising that we discovered, because we are foodies, is the food. Not just the food, but the specialty restaurants that are available on a lot of ships. And of course, by this time, we had only experienced, the two of us, just one cruise line, and I had briefly experienced Carnival. But the food, not just the quality, but the ready and at your service nature of the food on a cruise. If you're hungry right now, you will find something right now to eat. So, do you want to say some more about the food?
It's most of it's good. There's a lot more to say about the food, but we're still talking about my first cruise. I thought it was great.
So why do we like it?
Why do we like cruising?
Yeah, why do we? I mean, it's sort of there's a whole culture about cruising that I fell in love with, and I love it so much, but it's really hard to define. When you try to explain cruising and why we love it to other people, they sort of look at you like dogs watching television. But why do you think we like it so much?
Well, we like the ocean a lot. We both have a weird relationship with things nautical and the great big ocean, and I feel drawn to it and scared of it all at the same time, and I guess a lot of people do, but it's fascinating.
I really like that description, being terrified of it and loving it a little too. I mean, I feel the same way. It's so vast and just so overwhelmingly large. So why we're vlogging? Why are we vlogging?
Well, partly because we've watched an awful lot of travel vlogs, especially cruise vlogs, and we've noticed some things we thought were missing that we might be able to provide. We're going to do our best to not do what everybody else does. We're going to do our best. And it's not going to be perfect. But we have a different perspective maybe than some other people, and we have maybe different goals than some other people. We're going to stay honest all the time, I swear. And we're going to try to give you somewhat unique perspectives on the travels that we go on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, fair enough.
You agree?
You know, so far we've talked about just a teeny bit about Carnival and a little bit more about Holland America. And it's really maybe not a fair comparison because Carnival is a mainstream cruise line, and Holland America is sort of the entry-level premier cruise line. I thought there was a lot of same stuff on both, but they are different. They are slightly different, and your mileage may vary.
And by the way, the same people own both.
Yes.
So it's just, you know, it initially, like so many things in our world, they used to be different companies, and now they're the same people, but they still run them differently.
Yeah, Carnival owns Holland America,
among others.
So there you go. So just a bit about coming attractions of Crow's Next. We're hoping to share our 12-day cruise on Vision of the Seas, which is a Royal Caribbean cruise, and it was our first Royal Caribbean cruise.
And it had a very special aspect that really, really did a lot for us, which is that it was a no airplanes cruise.
Yeah, we live very close to a port, a cruise port. And so, yeah, it completely did away with the need for a flight to Florida or wherever, and no hotel stay. We got in the car and drove for 45 minutes, and there it was. And we're planning to do that again real soon. So in the coming episodes, we'll be talking about Vision of the Seas and that 12-day cruise, which was a lot of fun. It was also our first time having a ocean view room rather than a balcony room or a suite, and we loved it. So we'll be talking more about that. We also recently returned home from a Viking longship cruise in Europe, which was fabulous. And so we'll be talking more about that as well. So that's just a couple of things that we're looking forward to presenting on Crow's Next. And I think that's all we have for today.
We make this promise to you, never gonna give you up. We're never gonna let you down. We are Crow's Next, and the X stands for savings.
And apparently fans of Rick Astley. So
and maybe we are.
There we go.
Scotty Steve, Scotty Steve, Scotty Steve, Scotty Steve, Scotty Steve.